One man is being victimized by our own government. One man who they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
What's going on, everybody, on a Monday evening? That's it, Monday. It's Monday, the first day of the week. So much news has happened so quickly, you kind of forget what day we're on. It's Monday for sure. And as you saw the title of this video, those of you who are just coming in case you didn't see it, this could have been, or could possibly be, the worst 48 hours in liberal political history. And I really mean that. This 48-hour window we've been in has just been explosive. It has been monumentous. It's been epic. Whatever word you want to put there, it has been that. And it culminated today, obviously, with the beginning of the RNC. We're going to get to that. But before I get into anything, there's a member of our community, one of our loyal viewers here. I'm not going to name last names or anything, but his name is James. And his wife, Gina, they're both God-fearing people. And he found out that she's got a brain tumor. So if you guys could just keep Gina and James in your prayers, it would be greatly appreciated. He watches every single video. He's probably not going to surface here tonight and tell you who he is, but this is, I guess, the third time that it's come back. It must have gone into remission, but she has a brain tumor, so please pray for them. It sucks, especially for somebody to go through that, but I know we have a really robust community here, and obviously, what we saw this weekend, we know prayer works. Nobody can tell me otherwise. I saw it with my own eyes. Those of you who were here during the Pennsylvania rally, you saw it with your own eyes. There was no excuse. There's no reason for Donald Trump to be alive today, except for the hand of God. So I know full well, I knew it anyways, but I know full well even further in regards to Donald Trump that this man is protected by God. And I know some people say, well, what about the other guy in the crowd? He got killed. Well, maybe his job was to protect his wife and daughter. Yeah, I'm not going to question divine intervention. I am just going to be one who accepts it. Donald Trump was this far away, millimeters either way. If it had gone this way, it would have went through his eye, and if it went that way, it would have went through his brain. In any event, he lost part of his ear. He could be dead. And that was just 48 hours ago. And right now, it just seems like a lifetime ago. It seems like so much has happened in the last 48 hours. And it's the kind of stuff that liberals must think is a nightmare. We're going to go through a lot of stuff today. I'm not really going to touch too much other than like right now talking about what happened on Saturday because we saw it. We all saw it with our own eyes. And since then, so much has happened. Tomorrow I'm probably going to accumulate some information on what's been going on with the investigation. But that's looking kind of crazy. I'm telling you right now, when you hear some of the stories that are happening in regards to the actual investigation and what happened, like I've been telling you, there's no coincidences and there's no conspiracy theories. There's only facts that you may not know as of yet. And they're starting to come out and things are looking, Twilight Zone-ish. Twilight Zone-ish. Nothing is adding up. Nothing is making any sense. And what they're trying to feed people is that basically this kid bought the lottery ticket and he just happened to get there and take the shot. But in tomorrow night's video, I'm going to outline all of the data, all of the information that's coming out or they're allowing to come out about this kid and how he came to do what he did and shoot Donald Trump. It's unfriggin' believable. Yeah, it's, you just shake your head. And I'll just give you one tidbit that came out just about 15 minutes ago. 48 hours later, we find out that this kid was known to the police 35 minutes before he took the shot. They had reported it. They said, we see this kid. We don't know what he's doing. And they all knew about it 35 minutes before he took the shot. So I'm going to compile all that information tomorrow. Oh, then, of course, you found out he had bombs in his car. None of this stuff is making any sense. He's just a 20-year-old loner kid, right? Okay. Yeah, that's what you want us to believe. I'm just saying. I'm gonna compile it for you, but nobody can seem to explain why 35 minutes nothing happened. Why they even allowed Trump to take the stage until this kid was cleared. Why was he even walking up the stairs to go out there and begin talking if you knew this kid was wandering around and he wasn't supposed to be there? Big lapse. I've talked to some people who are former Secret Service. I've talked to some military guys. I've talked to some police people. And I've talked to people who've done presidential details. And they're like, it ain't adding up. There's something not going on here. And then, I know I said I wouldn't get too much into it, but just give you a preview. The director of the Secret Service, I'm not going to talk to the Congress. She gets a congressional subpoena to come in here and we need to talk to you. Nope, not going. What? What do you mean you're not going to come talk to Congress as they try to do this investigation? Why wouldn't you go talk to Congress? What do you possibly have to hide? You're the director of the Secret Service. How possibly can you have a problem telling people what you did or didn't do? So we already saw the lack of what's been going on. They've been talking about some of the, and I'm going to talk about that in detail tomorrow, some of the people on Trump's detail and what level of experience and proficiency they had. We're going to get into all that. But tonight, I want to talk about the progression from Saturday to where we are as of, I've been getting busy getting ready, so I'm going to say 6:45. I haven't seen any news since 6:45, so I'm just everything up until this point. So I'm first going to start with the White House. When I said the liberals, it's the worst 48 hours in history, it looked like there was a funeral today. I mean, it absolutely looked like a funeral. And then somebody dropped the casket. And then somebody kicked the casket. I mean, that's what kind of things kept happening throughout the day. So before I go too far, I want to show you something interesting. Let me see if this comes up. Yes, it does. This is the latest poll of the election. And as you see these numbers I'm going to show you, understand two things. One, this was taken on July 4th and 5th weekend. It doesn't even incorporate what happened on Saturday. And number two, it also will tell you a story as to one of the reasons why Donald Trump, and I'm going to basically, spoiler alert, why Donald Trump picked JD Vance as his vice president today. If you guys didn't know that, we're going to get to that, but here's the reason why. So in Arizona, Trump is, according to this poll, which is the YouGov, Trump is up 9 in Arizona. He's up 5 in Wisconsin, 6 in Georgia, 3 in Pennsylvania, 2 in Michigan, 5 in Nevada, and 4 in North Carolina. JD Vance is from Ohio, right in the middle of that, that Rust Belt area. And so that would affect basically Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. They're thinking that by bringing JD Vance in, he can help widen those leads in those areas. I'm anxious to see, and we won't see it for a while, what the polls look like just with what happened over the weekend. After the stuff I've been seeing, you guys have seen my videos, it's just, I could literally make a 4-hour video from people getting up and saying, I'm voting for this guy right here, that he got tiger blood in him. I literally could do like a 4-hour video. That's how many people are posting and going, I wasn't going to vote. I didn't like Trump. I didn't know which way I was going to go. I was going to sit out the election, and that's the guy I'm getting behind. I want to get behind a guy who gets shot, stands up and goes, fight. That's the kind of man I want. I want leading my country. I'll be able to sleep better at night knowing somebody like that is running the country. And it's absolutely true. It's tiger juice right there, man. So that's why, I believe, and what people have been saying is they're hoping that Vance can help Trump extend the lead in the middle of the country and force Dementia Joe to now fight it. So let me get to this video so we can begin talking. This is some of what happened at the White House today, and we're going to talk about it. Let me make sure the sound is okay.
In light of this weekend's events, the President has directed me to work with the Secret Service to provide protection to Robert Kennedy, Jr.
Mr. President, do you believe that your language contributed to the attempted assassination of President Trump?
Nothing. We've got nothing. Unbelievable. He just shuffled his way onto Marine One, took off to wherever he was going, didn't have the ability to converse with the people asking him, hey, you think your rhetoric is something that you might want to tone down? And then you saw Mayorkas today. The president has advised me to go ahead and, we're going to give Robert F. Kennedy some Secret Service protection. We know he's running for president, and we know his dad got taken out. So we're going to give him some now. It's only July 15th. Thank you for being magnanimous. Thank you for finally recognizing that there's nuts out there that may want to take a shot at people. It's criminal what he's done. It's criminal that he doesn't have any Secret Service protection. It's criminal that the people who worked on Trump's campaign and security weren't people who had real protection. It wasn't real protection. Did you know that some of these people weren't even Secret Service? The one woman who they keep showing on television and in different videos, she's from the DEA. She's never done high-profile security. The DEA. She's looking at drug interdictions, which is completely different. And anybody who's involved in law enforcement or military in this channel will tell you. And they had this woman who really didn't seem to be able to holster her gun. So now finally, because, oh wait, people aren't going to like the fact that if something happens to RFK, it could really, really impugn us. Unreal. We have kids running the White House because obviously Dementia Joe doesn't know. And so then we're going to talk about, listen to and talk about what Karine Jean-Pierre had to say today.
Just last week in Michigan, President Biden called Trump a threat to this nation. Should we expect that he will not be calling out Trump with that kind of rhetoric going forward?
So she just said, last weekend, Biden called out Trump as being, bad guy, threat to democracy, existential threat. Are you going to stop it right now? What would have been the easiest answer for her to say right there at the podium? Yes, we're no longer going to refer to Donald Trump in that manner. It's off the table. We're never going to do this anymore. Instead...
So what I will say is that it is important, right? We believe it's important to continue to forcefully speak against any type of political violence. That is what the president believes. And we do not want to politicize this moment. Politicizing this moment is unacceptable. We believe, and the president believes, you heard from him.
Is there an answer so far? No. Hey, you're going to keep talking this way? She hasn't said anything yet.
In a very clear statement last night about the importance of uniting this country, the importance of continuing to do so, and that we cannot tear America apart to score political points. We cannot do that.
She didn't say, no, we're not talking this way anymore. Oh, we're not going to tear America apart. They asked you a specific question. You can't even say no.
And so we don't want to politicize this moment. We want to unite. We want to continue to focus on that. And that's what the president's going to focus on right now.
His message.
So now she gets asked by a second reporter basically the exact same question.
The view is that Trump and the MAGA Republican agenda is a threat to democracy. So how do you get that message across while bringing the temperature down? How is that phrasing going to be replaced? Is it going to be replaced?
All right, so this is something I've said and I've seen a number of other people say. What you have to realize right now, if they can't call Trump, the guy from Germany, 1939, can't say his name here, if you can't say he's an existential threat, if you can't say he's a threat to democracy, if you can't say he's going to be a dictator on day one, what do you have left? You're going to have to talk about what you're going to do instead of basically trying to denigrate this guy, what you got. And at this point, they have no messaging. I said it in my video yesterday. They stopped like $20 million in ads. They had all the videos put together, all the commercials done to send out there and tell everybody how bad a dude Trump is and how you have to worry about your lives and what's going on with your family. And they had to drop it all. And now you got nothing to talk about. Nothing whatsoever. So here's her answer.
Look, what I can say is this.
Which means you're not going to give the answer. She said, what is your messaging going to be now?
Have our differences, and it's okay to have our differences. And it is okay to speak to someone's record, to speak to someone's character. That is the difference of, that is important to be able to do, to show, right, what the American people, what you're all about. We're just going to continue to denounce violence. It is important to do that, forcefully be against violence.
That's not what we asked you. Of course you're going to be against violence. You don't want to see anybody shot. What's your messaging going to be?
Political violence has no place in America. It should not be. It does not have a place here. The president's going to continue to be very, very forceful about that. But we have a difference of agenda. That is the truth.
From CBS.
All right, so this guy, some of you guys may know, is, I can't pronounce his name, Cenk Uygur. He's from the Young Turks. And so he's been out there talking to some Democrats lately and going, hey, man, Saturday was awful. What are you guys going to do about it? You know, Barry's out here talking about this is the worst 48 hours in liberal political history. What are you guys going to do and bounce back? He didn't really say that. I just kind of interjected that. Listen to what he says.
He says, I've been speaking with some top Democrats. They believe that those Democrats who have the concerns about President Biden are now standing down politically, will back President Biden because of this fragile political moment. All that talk about the debate faded almost instantly among my top Democratic sources as this unfolded. Say it's time for the country to stick together, and that means Democrats sticking together as well.
So what he's saying, after Saturday, they pretty much coalesced and said, we're stuck. This is the guy. Nobody else wants to step into this quagmire. Nobody else on the roster. Not Pete Buttigieg, not Kamala, definitely not Michelle Obama, definitely not Gavin Newsom, and of course not Hillary Clinton want to step into this at this point. Sorry, dude, you're on your own on this one. You want us to step in now after Mr. Tiger Blood just got shot and got up ready to fight, and the entire world saw that, and you want me to step in here? Nah, I'm good. I'll wait to 2028. Because right now, damn. I mean, and I do mean damn in the best Will Smith reference I can do. They realize right now, just keep him out there. Who cares? Let him finish.
They think, oh, Biden's going to lose, but now Trump will be so strong that anybody would lose to him. So let's not bother.
We're not going to get stained. When he said that, I was like, that's exactly what's going on. At this point, nobody else wants to step into this. Nope, not going to happen. Not on July 15th. Nope, you're all good, Joe. It's all yours. We're not going to boot you. You're the one who's going to go down with this Titanic. We're not going to step in. And right now, they all know it.
Let's just let Biden be the sacrificial lamb.
You're going to let Biden be the sacrificial lamb. This guy's going to go out there and bumble his way through the next couple of months, and there's literally no cavalry. Nobody's coming for him. I mean, think about that for a second. Everything you saw in a debate, everything you saw in George Stephanopoulos' interview, everything you're going to see tonight. He just did another interview with Lester Holt. I've got a cut for you as you're going to see. Everything you saw the other day when he came out and talked to the nation and goes, what did he say? Batter box or whatever? We're going to win at the batter's box. Oh, okay. He's on it again. He's doing it again. We're just going to let this guy go down in flames. We're just going to let it happen because there's nothing we can do at this point.
And then we'll go get him in 2028. If there is a 2028.
And it is a time for every...
And so, I got to tell you something that was really funny. I don't know if you saw what Bill Maher said. Bill Maher said, we can't... He didn't say we. He did not say we. He said, Biden gets beat by stairs and Trump can't even get taken down with a bullet. And you expect this guy to win? Nope, ain't going to happen. That's how bad it is. So, this morning on CNN... or yesterday evening rather, they're talking about the chances of Biden doing something. And now you're going to say, ram. They're going to start getting pissed off at each other here. And it's just delicious.
To dial it back.
Well, I would just say, there's no doubt about it, but we live in the age of social media where hate and outrage and conspiracy theories are actually profitable. And we've seen politics sort of mirror that. And this is a huge challenge for the country. And listen, I give the speaker credit because I think his tone as speaker has been different in a way. And I think he deserves credit for that. But, the reality is that there are things you can't erase. I mean, we all remember January 6th. We remember.
Okay, there you go. So what did they did, and this was a theme that they all huddled. Obviously, they get the memo, their talking points, and they start talking. And somebody must have said today, let's blame this on Trump. And they all looked at this talking points memo and went, that might work. Let's say that Trump is the reason he got shot. He got shot because of himself. They actually pushed that out there. It began yesterday with Martha Raddatz of ABC, and a lot of people started pushing that. They started saying, it's Trump's fault. Yes, they actually said that. They actually, en masse, it was on like 8 different news shows. You know, we think Trump and everything he did on January 6th and what he's been saying, he brought this on himself. It's like talking to a battered woman and said, you didn't make the sandwich right, so I'm sorry, Rachel Lumperford. He lumped you up because, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. That's how ludicrous these people are. They're trying to say that the woman brought it on themselves. They're trying to say that Trump, he got shot because he brought it on himself. And there's a guy sitting next to him who's a Republican. He's like, you got to be kidding, right?
For the president's rhetoric then. Just a few weeks ago, he retweeted a tweet in which Liz Cheney was accused of treason, and it said, read truth if you want televised military tribunals, and he did.
His own words. He goes, a couple of weeks ago, Trump, retweeted this stuff about Cheney, and she needs military tribunals. Well, some stuff came out about Liz Cheney. You didn't really talk about that. You didn't talk about her, basically eliminating text and destroying evidence. That part you didn't leave out. You just want to know, Trump said something bad about Liz Cheney. He was a big meanie. He sent out a mean post on True Social. We should do something about that.
So I think the speaker should talk to the president as well, because he has done his share to put us where we are.
What you are? Well, I know what I am. I mean, it literally is Pee Wee Herman crap. They are literally trying to deflect any way they possibly can, and they expect people to actually believe this crap that the guy brought on being shot. He should have known better. You should have known better to basically chastise Liz Cheney. That'll get you shot, man. You should know better.
David?
Yeah, I was just going to say, look, there's actually, you and I will disagree on this. There's no excuse. Like that, that's like blaming the victim a little bit here, right? Like
exactly.
So somebody gets assaulted, you blame the victim. We shouldn't have been wearing that outfit, or that man deserved to being hit by a car or whatever.
And he's not saying that.
It's a little indirectly, yes, but you got to condemn this outright. Actually, you got to condemn it outright, right? There's no
exactly. You have to condemn it outright. You can't sit there and backstroke and try to figure out which lane might work with the CNN viewers so that they understand that Trump brought this on himself. Nobody brings on a headshot. Nobody. There's no reason. Zero. Period. End of story. And you got people like on CNN saying this kind of idiocy.
Justification.
David, I've condemned it from the very beginning. I abhor that. There's no place for that. But I don't think it's also not clear.
You can't say January 6th is the reason the president almost got killed yesterday.
Did I say that?
You kind of.
I said the speaker said we have to lower our voice, and I'm suggesting that he should speak to his own candidate.
And I agree.
As well.
And we should speak to lots of Democrats, lots of Republicans, the president of the United States. Add some rhetoric, heated rhetoric.
Well, let's start. Let's do this. Let's start by not putting words in my mouth.
Okay. Well.
Little cat fight going on here. They got nothing. I mean, they really have nothing, to the point where I didn't say it that way. I said it this way. You're misconstruing what I actually meant. Well, no, I heard what you said.
I'm not. I'm just saying. You say.
Let me bring
January
it to Ashley
6th,
for one second.
But I don't want. I just want to say, January 6th did not cause what happened.
I don't think he was
nobody
saying
said that.
I don't think he was saying that. Ashley.
I don't think that's what he said. That's not what I meant. What else could you have meant? When you say, oh God, why would you even bring up January 6th? Why would you even mention January 6th and a guy getting shot in the head in the same vein? How they have anything to do with each other? I mean, that was years ago. Years ago. And you're saying that somebody somewhere went and said, you know what? this Trump guy needs to be taken out. I'm going to wait like 3 years. I'm going to wait 3.5 years. And then I can't take it anymore. Why would you even bring that up? That just shows you the Democrats have nothing. They have zero message. Nothing at all to say. Now, I told you that Dementia Joe did an interview tonight with, I believe NBC is where Lester Holt is. And they dropped out a little nugget as to what happened. And they stuck Dementia Joe in front of a camera again, and you're not going to believe this one. Oh, this is great.
Your opponent an existential threat. On a call a week ago, you said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate that.
I didn't say cross. There may be context, but those were his exact words.
Serious. I was talking about focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term is bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him. Focus on what he's doing.
What? I didn't say crosshairs. Lester, check your script. Did you say crosshairs? Nope. I said you said bullseye. Well, I didn't say crosshairs. Come on, man. Is it really that bad? Where you're making up terms to try and deflect that the man didn't even ask you. Well, I didn't say crosshairs. You said bullseye. That's not what I meant. Maybe it was a wrong word. I shouldn't have used it. Why, if it's a wrong word and you shouldn't have used it, because now everybody's going to see that, and you're telling everybody it's wrong, why did you have to wait until July 15th to say it? Why didn't you say it was wrong the day after it came out your mouth? You're standing on stages and you're saying this stuff all over, and people with microphones and reporters writing stuff down, and they heard you say, we got to put a bullseye on him. And you didn't come out the next morning, or Karine Jean-Pierre, either one, and say, oh, wait, I was thinking about crosshairs, but I used the word bullseye because there's really a big difference in the two. Understanding crosshairs is inside the scope when somebody sees, and a bullseye is actually the target. Who cares at that point? You're splitting hairs. You're trying, again, they're backstroking because they got nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. So before we go on, let's take a few comments and hear what you guys got to say. Crosshairs is what Sarah Palin used, and she got in all kinds of trouble for it. Absolutely. They basically shredded her for it. God bless free speech. We got him. Also, what I want to tell you, when you say God bless free speech, man, thank God. Again, a lot of God thanking going on. Thank God that Elon Musk was able to purchase Twitter. That's all I got to say. It literally is sticking a fire hose in your face and getting blasted with all the information that's coming out that these guys aren't reporting. It ain't anywhere. It's all over Twitter. You can see sheriffs, you can see politicians, you can see everybody talking. You can see neighbors, you can see people in coffee shops that never reach the airwaves. And you wonder why the mainstream media is basically circling the bowl at this point, is because they're lying. And now you understand why they're lying, because this guy's trying to be a professional. He's talking to the President of the United States, and the President of the United States is looking him right in the eye and lying. Straight up lying. That's how bad it is. Agree, Barry. Cindy, you said that you got kicked off of X. Did you get kicked off of Twitter, or you get kicked off of X? There's a little bit different. So try and get back on. You can appeal, hit up their support, depending on what you wrote. They usually just suspend people if they say something really bad. But, I mean, even some of the strongest right-wing people are on Twitter. Alex Jones is still on Twitter. Laura Loomer is still on there. So you should be able to get back on there. So just give it a shot. Thanks, Barry. You came right out and said they are letting Biden take the hit. They've decided it. I mean, Cenk from the Young Turks said it. You are going to be the sacrificial lamb. So here you go. Here you go, Joe. Enjoy it. Pack a lot of Depends because you're going to end up pooping yourself. And I can't wait to get off tonight and see that interview in its entirety. And I bet you there's a whole bunch more that's going to be out there. Trump is the chosen one. I think we saw that as well. Hey, Jerome, how are you doing, sir? Trump needs to hire a security team to keep an eye on Secret Service agents. He might just do that. I know the guys from Blackwater were talking about doing something. Then when he landed in Milwaukee today for the RNC, it was like a military operation. There were so many military guys just waiting there. And he's protected as well as can be protected. I'm at a loss for words. It's worse than I thought. They are really filling the blank. Shake my head. Oh, it's going to get worse. I've only gone through segment A. I got some more stuff to show you where you're going to see these people just absolutely just losing it. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Loved your previous show, Barry. Everyone opened their eyes, and after the attempt on Trump. And like I said earlier, I could have done that for 4 hours. My wife came here and tapped me on the shoulder. She goes, that's enough, man. You've been doing this for 35, 40 minutes. You got so much. And it's just, what really got me, I don't know if you guys saw the video I posted earlier. Maybe go ahead and take a look at it. There's a segment in there where this young woman, I'd say 19, 20, 21. She looks like she might be LGBT-ish. And she is doing a TikTok style thing where she's superimposed on her picture when she was a young kid. And she was holding up a sign which looked like a do not enter sign, you know, the big circle with the red that comes across, and it said Trump, and it had the red, you know, the red line through it. And she goes, I'm looking back now, and I'm holding this sign, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. Somebody said, let's go here. You gotta hate Trump. It's you know, we are LGBT, so you know it's what we do. It's in the job description. If you date another person of the same sex, you gotta hate Trump. Okay, hate Trump. And she had the guts to do this video and put it out there. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. Where she says, I don't even know what I had a problem with. I was so stupid. And I have to come clean. And it was almost like she felt she had to expose her ignorance to the world in order to let people know there's a lot of people like me who are out here walking around with signs and we don't even know why. And then she goes, then I saw what happened this weekend and it opened my eyes that this guy's a leader. He's not the big baddie. He's badass. Absolutely. But it opened her eyes. It's amazing seeing people basically coming out of a shell, and it's detrimental to the media because people, she actually said, they lied to me. They have lied to me for years. And as I said in the video, as soon as people start looking, as soon as people start opening their eyes and saying, should I read that? Oh, they lied to me about this. And then another woman I put in the video, she's like, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I know some of my friends, screw it. That's the kind of guy I want to be around. There was one video, I didn't put it in because I didn't have time, which it kind of choked me up. And here's what he said. Let me tell you what this guy said. This guy goes, I hadn't seen it anywhere, but you almost have to wonder, was Trump basically trying to fire people up, or did he think those were his last words? And I told my wife, and I sat back and went, whoa, he didn't know. Think about this for a second. Seriously, think about this. So when you step back and you heard some of the stuff he has said today, and he said, I didn't know where the pain was coming from. He knew his ear was hit, but he said, my arms are all bruised up. He goes, I'm hurting in my side. And he said, this guy, 5 of them, were like linebackers that hit him, and they had him pinned to the ground. it's likely he didn't know, am I hit? Am I going to make it out of here? What's this pain I feel? Is it a bullet? I don't know. Fight. I got to tell you, because I might not be here. And I went, wow, I never even thought it that way. I never thought that might have been him thinking those were his last words. I don't know if he thought that at all. He might have realized, I'm good. Let me just get my shoe. I'll be all right. But who knows? It was pretty crazy. This guy says, George, I remember you. To be honest, I do not like a lot about Trump, but there's a lot more that I don't like about Biden. As you see, I don't give Biden the respect to start his name with a capital letter. That I don't like. Yeah, I can see that. Cindy says, yeah, he is 78. I don't even know. Thank you, Beverly. So let's continue here. Let's continue. Watch when you get off of here, see if you've DVR'd or go back and find the ABC interview. I believe it started at 7 o'clock news, so you might see it. So let's see, what do I got next here? Let's see.
So this Fox News alert now. All
right, so I had to see what was coming next so I can set it up. So after all that crap at the White House and they got no messaging and they're going to put Joe out to be the sacrificial lamb, that was early this morning. And then news breaks, and it's Judge Cannon tossed Jack Smith's case. Tossed it out the window. Just done. Dismissed. No more hearings. Done. Jack Smith case is over. Done. Oh, wait a minute. I got to go back for something. Let me rewind. Earliest this morning at 6 o'clock when the morning shows come on, I'm flipping the channels. I go to CNN, I go to Fox, I go to MSNBC. I'm like, who's this chick? And where's Mika and Morning Joe? And then I don't see her, and I rewind, I fast forward, I'm like, what? So I go to Twitter, where the news is, and when I go to Twitter, I see this. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It's a huge day in politics, and MSNBC has pulled Morning Joe off the air. They're apparently worried that the Morning Joe crew might say something inappropriate about the Trump assassination attempt. And then CNN basically says, they had to pull him off the air. I want you to think of something. I mean, seriously, think of something. I don't like Morning Joe. I report on Morning Joe. I use it as part of my show reference. They have, I think, a stable of 10 or 12 people that they bring on their host, as hosts or contributors. You're telling me, Mr. Comcast, because Comcast owns MSNBC, you're telling me that you got 10 or 12 seasoned adult reporters and hosts. Most of everybody on there is over 50 or over 60, maybe a couple younger people. And you couldn't tell these people, keep your mouth shut, don't say something stupid. You were so worried that they wouldn't be able to contain their TDS. They wouldn't be able to just let it go, that you pulled the entire show off the air. That is stunning. Comcast is so worried that these people have such TDS. The only answer, because, if somebody said before I got on here, hey, Barry, when you do your show today, make sure you don't talk about the 20-year-old kid. Why? Well, it might offend some people. Why? Well, I'm your boss. Oh, gotcha, end of discussion. Luckily, I ain't got no boss. But if I was at a big corporation and my boss said, don't put this in tonight's show, I just wouldn't talk about it. I'm a man. I'm old enough. I take direction if I have to. Okay, let me scratch that off the show. You're telling me Comcast had to take the entire freaking show off the air because they didn't trust Morning Joe, Mika, and the rest of the crew to keep their mouths shut. What kind of indictment is that on a trashy, garbage, vitriolic network that you can't even trust the people you pay millions of dollars to follow direction. People were stunned today. Like, what do you mean? Wait, what do you mean you had to pull them off the air? How long? How long can these people not get back on the air? I pay you millions of dollars. You are a host. Who knows? Morning Joe may make $2 or $3 million a year. Dude, I pay your checks. I write the checks for you, and I'm telling you, don't be stupid about this. Boy, I can't. I don't even trust you to do the right thing. Shut it down. Wow. That's how bad these liberals are. That's how bad this 48 hours has been for them. That's why I said this is the worst 48 hours in liberal history. I almost forgot about that. I didn't even put it in my notes. I just had to just thought of it. I cannot believe, I had video of it, I cannot believe that they had to pull that show off the air. And then, of course, yesterday I shared with you that Joy Reid had to shut down her Twitter account. So when I get off this show, I'm definitely going to go to the DVR, because I do DVR Joy Reid's show, and see if Joy Reid's sitting there smiling. Was she pulled off the air? Was Rachel Maddow pulled off the air? What is going on with MSNBC? Is the TDS that bad that you had to alter your entire programming during prime time as well? I mean, it's 7:46. Any of you guys want to go ahead and check and tell me if if she's on the air? But it's just incredible. look, LOL, morning blow. Yeah, they were probably going to make things worse. That when I do my show notes and I think about what I'm going to say, I sometimes I look at it and go, people aren't going to believe me. If they haven't seen this, they're going to say Barry's making that up. He's not serious. They didn't pull off a years running morning show because the people couldn't keep their mouth shut. Barry, you're making that up. Nope, not making it up. If you hadn't heard until tonight, as shocking as it may seem, they had to pull these guys off the air. Curly Sue proved today that they don't take any accountability for their side of the rhetoric. Nope, not at all. Unbelievable. Oh my goodness, somebody did check. Okay, somebody just went on and checked on Joy Reid's show. It's off the air as well. I don't know the CEO of Comcast, but they must be sitting there going, what are we going to do with these nuts? We've invested millions into these shows, and we don't even trust them to get on the air because a president or former president got shot. We don't know how they're going to act. I don't know how Joy Reid does her show, because if they even let her back on, they're going to say no more talking about this guy in Germany, no more talking about existential threats, no more talking about the end of democracy. Well, what the hell do I talk about? I don't know. Find some writers. Do something. Dance. Don't give a shit. Don't talk about this stuff. But what can we talk about? News. How about you talk about news? How about you don't inject your TDS every single night? Racist. Dictator. Blah, 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 blah. They pulled him off the air. That's simply amazing. Hey, Barry, watch your show whenever I can. JD Vance is a great pick. Hold on to that. We're going to go that. They have no constraints. I don't... Most of you are probably around my age. Can you imagine your boss telling you don't do something and you saying, I don't even know if I can. I don't even know what to say. Dude, I pay you a couple $1 million a year. You can't shut up. Get off the air. Get off the air. So anyway, as I went through that, so after all that stuff happened this morning early, and I heard that, then the hits started coming. And the case gets thrown out. So that's where we were. Let's go back to that.
We have major breaking news on one of the cases facing the former president, Donald Trump. Specifically, the documents case based out of Palm Beach, Florida. For more on that, David Spun tracking it in Washington, D.C. And David, I'll allow you to deliver this major headline.
Judge Eileen Cannon has dismissed the classified documents case against Donald Trump in Florida. This is massive news. We did not see this coming at all. This is a...
Why didn't you see this coming? I mean, you're on Fox. You're a journalist. We all saw it coming. We saw what happened in the immunity case. All you had to do was read down into the decision where you saw Clarence Thomas say, hey, I don't know if this guy Jack Smith should even be on this case. He actually wrote that in the concurring opinion. Concurring meaning he agreed with the majority. In addition to all this other stuff, I don't know if this guy should even be on the case. So how did you not see it coming? Or did you not want it to come, even though you're on Fox? You know, you're supposed to be conservative somewhat. We all saw it coming. I just was wondering what day it was going to come down. I had no idea it was going to come down 48 hours after Trump got shot.
Case that she tentatively postponed to a later date. The original trial was set for the end of May. She moved it back a couple of months, though not setting a date. She has just dismissed it in a 93-page court document saying that Jack Smith, the special counsel's appointment, violates the appropriations clause and the appointments clause of the United States Constitution. In layman's terms,
I love that picture of him. I love that picture of him. That's probably how he looked today when he heard what she said. Like, what? You dismissed it?
She's saying that he was not appointed lawfully and not appointed appropriately. I'm sure we're going to be hearing from the Department of Justice about this momentarily, as Attorney General Merrick Garland believes that he had every right, and his team believes every right, that he could appoint Jack Smith as special counsel.
Now understand something. Merrick Garland is going to basically turn heaven and hell over to try and get Jack Smith to continue prosecuting this case. Merrick Garland, who is the same guy who has to investigate Trump shooting. Make that make sense. Hey, Christopher Wray. Hey, Merrick Garland. I know we're trying to put this guy in jail, but can you go check out what happened in Pennsylvania? Jack's going to be tied up for a while.
We're going through this right now. It's 93 pages. The printer is cranking up behind me, page by page. But essentially, the bottom line here is that this documents case goes completely away for Donald Trump. There was a hearing that was originally scheduled for next week to talk more about this appointments issue. Judge Cannon issues this on the day of the beginning of the RNC. So right now, Donald Trump still has one pending case against him in federal court. That's here in Washington, D.C. That's his alleged attempts to try to overturn the 2020 election.
What do you think is going to happen up there? The same prosecutor tried to file a different case up in Washington. If Jack Smith was found unconstitutionally appointed in the Florida case, the judge up there would have to be pretty stupid to continue with this in Washington. But more than likely, they are going to try and convince her to go ahead and continue. It's a complete cluster. When I said this is the worst week in liberal history, and I'm only about a couple segments in here, and this one just completely fell apart.
Special counsel Jack Smith received a blow to that case just a couple of weeks ago with the Supreme Court. That seems to be somewhat delayed right now.
Somewhat delayed? Hey, listen, you've got to determine which part is even available or covered by immunity. And then now you're going to have to figure out if this guy should even be on the case. Every document he filed, he had no authority to do so, says the court in Florida. And now the court in Washington is going to go, what am I supposed to do with this? Never mind what's going to happen with Fani Willis. I mean, they shot their load. Sorry to say it that way. They shot their shot. They went after him with everything they possibly could and more, as we saw on Saturday. And it's all falling apart.
But this is big news. No question that this case is completely dismissed.
Andy McCarthy.
I think it's a tremendous missed opportunity for President Biden. I have a column up at National Review this morning calling on Biden to be serious about what he said in the Oval Office and either direct the Justice Department to dismiss the cases against Trump or pardon him and encourage the states to dismiss their cases against Trump.
Dementia Joe doesn't know what to do. They know he can't win, as Senk said earlier from the Young Turks. He's out there as a sacrificial lamb. Nothing is working. Andy McCarthy, who's never been a big Trump supporter, said, dude, you might gain some favor if you just try and save your butt and just dismiss this stuff. Biden should have had Jack Smith and Merrick Garland in the White House this morning, right away, right after this dropped, and said, we're done. I'm running for president. I'm trying to get something done here, and this isn't looking good. We're taking body blow after body blow. This guy just survived a hit. He's got the entire world thinking he's basically a superhero. And now we're getting this as well, where this case gets thrown out. Do something. And here it is, 8 o'clock, and they did nothing. It's like nobody is driving the boat in Washington. It's like nobody understands. Andy here has a great way of getting out of it. You know what? In the effort of civility, we're dropping all this. I think there'd be some people who went, yeah, he did the right thing. But he can't, because your people can't even go on the air and talk about something because they've got TDS.
Trump as well. These cases aren't going anywhere. This is a cost-free exercise for Biden. And particularly after the Biden Justice Department dismissed against him basically the same Espionage Act charges that Jack Smith larded 32 into an indictment against Trump. The thing for the president to do if he wanted to signal magnanimity and the nation coming together was dismiss the charges. He could have risen above it all, and I think he should have done that in Florida before Judge Cannon did.
Exactly. Before it got to this point, you saw after the debate, after the Stephanopoulos interview, you saw you're basically were on a downward slide. You could see that things weren't going well. You needed someone to throw you a life preserver. What can I do that would basically reinvigorate people to say that maybe they could vote for me? And you didn't do it. And this guy, Trump, took a shot and survived. You took some shots today that you may not, politically speaking. I don't see how he comes out of this. I really don't. This is crazy.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Jonathan.
Let me get a final thought from you, Jonathan Turley and Andy McCarthy. Start with you, Jonathan.
Well, I think that with Judge Merchan, the assumption is that...
So now they're talking about the New York case, which isn't federal. They're just talking about the one with, what's her name, Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen, and they're saying you need to dismiss that one too. Trump's super team of lawyers is coming for you, and they've got this immunity thing in their back pocket. So maybe before they hit your docket, you might want to dismiss that too, because it's never going to survive appeal.
And he's going to say a lot of this is unofficial conduct to preserve the conviction. But I have to tell you, I've gone through that case after the immunity decision, and I sat in that courtroom. I was surprised at how much of that case falls into the second bucket of the three buckets laid out by the court. A lot of it is stuff that the court says is presumptively official and protected. So he's going to have a tough time trying to make this cat walk backwards to preserve that. But for Donald Trump, if of all of the cases that could be dismissed, this would be at the top of the list. This was the greatest threat. And for now, at least, it's gone.
We just got off the phone with the former president, and
all right, so let me set this part up. We'll take some comments. So now you're seeing how the day is shaping up for the Democrats, and they're understanding at this point that these cases are falling apart. You're actually going to have to beat them at the battle box. The battle box, the batter's box, whatever he wanted to call it. You're going to have to beat him at the ballot box. And you're seeing the tide shift so much, it is going to be too big to rig. And it just doesn't seem like anybody has any idea what the hell they're doing. Meanwhile, Trump is just gaining steam and just moving forward. It's unbelievable. Somebody says, I'm glad her show isn't on. But Shutux Film Group says there's a definite shift in the world. Big time shift in the world. They said The View was pulled off too. Oh no. Oh no! Are you telling me that The View has been pulled off the air? I thought they were on today, but very well they could be again. Democrats know the game is over and they lost. Oof, man, wow. What's to say? I listen to a lot of YouTubers, and I have to say you give the best info in more detail than most. What I like you do is you got to do research. I don't know how you could talk about stuff if you haven't done the research. And if you don't, you have to understand what's actually happening. So I try to get people who are in the field, legal people, and then let you hear I'm not just making stuff up. And so then I try to put a flow together so you can see how this all moves in together. So it's not clickbait. You see the title, Worst Week 48 Hours in Liberal History, and then boom, 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 starting to show you what's going on. And these people being taken off the air, those are their big mouthpieces. What are they going to do without these mouthpieces helping Dementia Joe? If he's not getting the support of Morning Joe and The View and Maddow and Joy Reid and Lawrence McDonald, if he's not getting that support to keep that base in place, what are you going to do? So now you're going to hear from Trump, oh, wow. No, Marcus, this isn't true. ABC canceled The View next season. Next season, okay. What about the rest of it? The MSM can learn a lot from Barry. You know, what's funny about that is you, me, and everybody else, we had to absorb the hits when they were putting 34 felonies on Donald Trump, and they got convicted up in New York, and they put $450 million fine on him. We had to absorb it. And the only thing we could say was, this is never going to stand. We were saying it back in March. We're like, this is BS. We know it's BS. And as I've told you about conspiracy theories, it just takes time. And they were hoping that they could get these convictions just so they could keep yelling at everybody, he's a felon, he's been convicted 34 times. And then slowly but surely, wait till they get the New York case thrown out. Wait till you can't call him a felon. Oh, hell is going to break loose even more so. I mean, there's going to be crying in the street. I mean, literally. So now, after Andy McCarthy and Jonathan Turley talked, Brett Baer is going to talk about a conversation he had with Trump.
He said this: I am thrilled that a judge had the courage and wisdom to do this. This has big implications, not just for this case, but for other cases. The special counsel worked with everyone to try to take me down. This is a big deal. It only makes this convention more positive. This will be an amazing week.
It's only Monday. It's only Monday. He's not euphemizing. This is going to be an amazing week. This guy literally took a shot and survived on Saturday. And now these shots are being looking like Wonder Woman at this point. Wonder Man. He's just deflecting all this stuff. And people are like, is this guy really the Teflon Don? Because you didn't have anything to begin with, which is why the guy probably took the shot on Saturday.
He said again and again that this was a big decision. He pointed to, Justice Thomas and the questioning in the Supreme Court on this very issue about the special counsel, but seemed to indicate that he thought that this would have implications for other cases. He did confirm that he's going to make a VP choice today, and he said, Brett, there's other surprises to come. So I don't know what that means.
Okay, so what did that mean? With this guy and what he's been doing, I'm going to do my VP, which he did, and there's more surprises to come. Oh my goodness. Buckle up. Who knows where this week is going to go? I have no idea.
So if he's but I wanted to get reaction from the former president.
Meantime, the former... Okay, so now the financial part of this. You can already see the arrow. As soon as this news hit, let me back up here. So over the weekend, I don't know how many of you guys invest, but the stock market just doesn't stop because it's the weekend. They have these things called futures, and where they say, things are going to be good on Monday, and we're going to set a price on something for the future, meaning Monday. And then Monday, the markets open up. Well, as soon as he basically looked like the Tiger Man on Saturday and survived a hit, the market started inching up. And people are like, oh my God, look what's happening. The stock market is going up. None so much as Truth Social. Listen to this.
President is arriving in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention.
Okay, hold on. They cut that. So anyway, Truth Social exploded. And it went up like, I don't know what percent, but it went way up. Other stock, and this is really important, other stocks went way up. I'm not sure what the market closed at today. But why? Why is it that these stocks went up? Because now CEOs and corporations are realizing, we don't have to do this DEI shit anymore. We can get back to business. We don't have to worry about ESG and all this. And then companies today started firing people. We're done with you. Nope, no more of this stuff. John Deere, who took a serious hit, the company John Deere, who took a serious hit because of all their DEI stuff, y'all done. You're fired. Get rid of them all. And companies are realizing at this point that January is going to be good. They are forecasting now with their dollars that Trump is going to be the next president. So they were trying to appease Dementia Joe and all the different things that he wanted to do. And now the markets are realizing, oh, it's going to be game on come January. Let's roll. Let's effing go. Let's do this. So after all this news and good news about the Trump case and everything else, the guys at MSNBC and CNN had to begin talking about what happened.
The day after he was targeted in that attempted assassination, our Eamon Javers joins us with some breaking news. Morning, Eamon.
Good morning, Carl. That's right. The former president is here in Milwaukee, and he arrives to Milwaukee with a big win here in the courts just within the past couple of minutes. Federal Judge Aileen Cannon has now moved to dismiss the documents case against the former president of the United States. She's arguing here in this dismissal document that we just got, Carl, within the past minute.
She's not arguing. She's the judge. She's declaring. Understand that, dude. She's not arguing. The lawyers argue. She's making a declaration, a decision.
That the special counsel's appointment itself was unconstitutional. The judge says the bottom line is this: the appointments clause of the Constitution is a critical constitutional restriction stemming from the separation of powers, and it gives to Congress a considered role in determining the propriety of vesting appointment power for inferior officers. The special counsel's position effectively usurps that important legislative authority, transferring it to a head of department, and in the
means it's no good
process, threatening the structural liberty inherent in the separation of powers. So on separation of powers and constitutional grounds now, the federal judge has dismissed the case against the former president of the United States involving classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. That is a big political win for the former president here ahead of his appearance at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, where he is going to accept his party's nomination for president of the United States. We do expect, Carl, by the way, more political news coming any time now, really. The question is, who will be Donald Trump's running mate in...
Jose, we've just... All right, so before I get to these guys, after the news broke, where's this thing here? This is funny. This woman, she's just all up in her feelings right about now. She goes, the dismissal of Trump documents case may be actually good news for Jack Smith, who can now immediately appeal to the 11th Circuit and ask for a case to be reassigned to a new judge, but maybe more delays. I want to show you who this woman is. Her name is Barb McQuade. You can, let me see this. Barb McQuade. She is the chief legal expert for MSNBC. So you can see that, legal analyst. Why is that important? Because obviously she's got some TDS. And she's thinking right now, okay, here's what we do. This could be good. You can get this rogue judge, and you can get her thrown out. Just get rid of her. We're going to go ahead and appeal this to the 11th Circuit. Wow, okay, let's get game on. We still got him. That's how bad MSNBC is. This is their chief legal analyst who's saying, we're going to go ahead, or you should, wink, wink, Jack, go ahead and appeal to the 11th Circuit. Oh, Barry, that could be bad news. They could just appeal it and do it again. Not so fast, my friend. This woman who's the chief legal analyst, does she not know how appeals work? Because when you appeal it, it's going to eventually go to, the appellate division of the 11th Circuit. And of course, Trump would basically appeal whatever they say. And then it would go to the Supreme Court. Do you know who is the presiding judge, the presiding justice of the Supreme Court of the 11th Circuit? Let me just go ahead and show you. So, every appellate court has an attending Supreme Court justice who handles the appeals that come from that particular circuit. So as you see down here for the District of Columbia, it's John Roberts. For the First Circuit, it's Ketanji Brown. For the Second Circuit, and on and on and on. Yeah, let's look at who the 11th Circuit is. Boom! It's Clarence Thomas, the guy who wrote the concurring opinion who said that Jack Smith was unconstitutional. How did she not know this? How did she put out that tweet and said, we're just going to go ahead and appeal it? That's what you got to do, Jack Smith. Just go into the 11th Circuit just to show it to you again. Boom. She said, and that is the correct court to appeal it, we'll appeal to the 11th Circuit. How did she not know that that was Clarence Thomas's court? This is the man who wrote the opinion, actually the concurring opinion. He wrote the opinion that said, hey, you might want to realize that Jack Smith is unconstitutionally appointed and your whole case is going to go bye-bye. And it's like this woman never even thought to herself, what judge oversees the 11th Circuit? And you're going to go right back to the judge who already wrote the opinion saying bye-bye. Yes, they do have TDS. Yes, they have no idea what is going on at this point. They're literally just flailing about. I mean, absolutely flailing. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a legal analyst for MSNBC, but I know where to look for information. Did she write that tweet not realizing that people, or did she not even know that you're going to go stand in front of Clarence Thomas again? You know, the guy you've been trying to impeach? Come on. Bring it. Where's AOC? Bring her with you too. You know, she's trying to impeach me. And you want me to rule on your behalf after I've already told you that you're dead in the water. Bring it. These people are screwed on so many levels. Screwed to the wall. I'm thinking Trump is an absolute genius. He had to put up with a lot of stuff, but he knew that this was just tactics they were trying to do to stain him before the election. If they got enough people to think he was going to go to jail, oh, we got him this time. The walls are closing in. Actually, they're not. But we got to do something about that, so let's go ahead and take a shot at him in a field in Pennsylvania, then we won't have to worry about it. I can't even... Discerning King says, yeah, TDS. Complete TDS. The protesters are outside. Oh, yeah, the protesters are at the RNC right now. Yeah, free Palestine. Free Palestine. Idiots. Absolute idiots. She needs to worry about the lawsuits coming to her network. Yeah, absolutely. Clarence Thomas, a man who follows the Constitution of the United States of America. So now I'm going to show you some just delicious stuff. This is the people at MSNBC who are filling in for Morning Joe and Mika, who couldn't keep their mouth shut, and they're just Just watch. You'll see.
And our first reaction from the former president himself in a post on his social media site in which he writes, as we move forward in uniting our nation after the horrific events on Saturday, this dismissal of the lawless indictment in Florida should be just the first step, followed by, let me let this pick up here as they're testing the audio here. I'm going to switch microphones, Jose. He says this dismissal should be just the first step, followed quickly by the dismissal of all the witch hunts, as he describes them. The January 6th hoax in Washington, Manhattan DA's zombie case, New York.
Listen to what this guy says here. It's delicious.
AG scam, fake claims about a woman I never met. He goes on to say, towards the end of this statement here, which is quite lengthy, that these are all an election interference conspiracy against Joe Biden's political opponent, me. Let us come together and end all weaponization of our justice system and make America great again. Jose, I'll share two thoughts as I'm reading this with you for the first time on the air. First of all, obviously, the former president and his allies very much celebrating this ruling today.
Okay, so he's upset, his own words, he's upset that Trump is celebrating the ruling. What amount of soy do you have to consume to be upset that someone is celebrating a ruling on their behalf? You're actually, he's celebrating. I can't believe that's the first point I got to make. He's actually celebrating. What's your second point?
And I think about everything we've heard from the former president and his campaign over the last 36 hours or so about his desire to try to unite the country moving forward. What I hear here is much the same tone we've become used to from the former president, talking about criminal cases against him, one of which has already resulted in a conviction by a jury of his peers as hoaxes and witch hunts.
Show me on the dial where the Trump hurt you. You think it's celebratory is wrong, and you think that it's not unifying to celebrate the decision by a judge. You shouldn't be happy that a judge ruled in your favor. How bad do your nipples have to hurt for you to feel that less of a man? I mean, I don't, it just, how do these guys put pants on? Seriously. That bothered you. It bothered you that he celebrated a win in court. And that he said witch hunt. That's so not unifying. So celebrating the successful appeal of a law is basically not allowing people to come together? Are people on the left just so abhorrent that they don't even want to embrace the law anymore? Because that's what he just said. He just said, calling this stuff witch hunt and hoaxes, which it obviously is, the judge threw it out. And you're saying, by saying, yeah, I won, that's bad.
Suggesting they're all brought against him by Joe Biden. This is much the same tone that we've heard from Donald Trump, sort of pre his new push towards unifying the country and now post. So
unifying the country does not mean lay down and be a wuss. That's what this guy just said. This guy just said to the American people on television, live at the time it was broadcast, that, oh my God, Trump's celebrating a win. Yeah? What's wrong with that? Well, you know, it's divisive. A man said that on television, that someone else celebrating a win is divisive. What is wrong with these people? I mean, we watch losses and wins every single night, whether it's the NBA, the WNBA, NFL, baseball. People celebrate wins. It means they accomplished something. They didn't lose. And you're supposed to not celebrate winning because it makes it look like you're being divisive? What idiot would be divided because the law was upheld? I couldn't believe I heard him say that. Oops, let me cut to it.
And pushing it one step further, suggesting all of the charges, criminal and civil, against him need to be dismissed.
A man says that all the cases against me should be dismissed. I didn't do this. People are seeing that I didn't do it. And the fact that I want these cases dismissed is divisive. Think about that. I'm supposed to take your, I'm supposed to take your arrows and just sit here. I'm not supposed to be, hey, listen, can the law work for me? Can I appeal this to a court and see if the law makes any sense? If this guy was deemed unconstitutional, then Trump's rights were infringed upon. These people don't care about your rights. That's why they need to be voted into oblivion. They are saying it with their own mouths. You're hearing the words that they're saying. It's divisive for you people to be happy that there's a win. It's divisive to say these cases should be dismissed. What's he supposed to say? Well, I hope you guys can regroup and convict me on 2 or 3 other cases. This one, ain't going to work. Then that would be unifying? Wow. The Democratic Party is literally the Titanic. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to say anymore and repeat it, but you see what I mean. And I'm like, what is it that these people don't get? Who's watching these networks and thinking that somebody who said this is actually making sense? It doesn't. It doesn't. The Constitution is such an inconvenience to these people. What did Tommy just say there? Tommy, is that you? Hey, man, how you doing? He says they're just following the narrative. Trump bad. That's what he's paid to do. Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. They're utterly in shambles. Absolutely. What's it say? The truth. Trump liars. The truth always wins. Truth always wins. Yeah, they can't. In Jack Nicholson, they can't handle the truth. So it continues. So now this guy, and he tells you a little bit about him. He's going to talk about, this is Andrew Weissman, the guy who worked with Robert Mueller, and he's going to tell you how bad this was.
Stands alone. What she is doing in many ways is putting in writing what she has done de facto in this case. She has delayed this case at every step. The one difference now is that by making this ruling in writing, not just sort of slowing the case to a complete standstill, which has been her wont, this will go to the 11th Circuit. The government can appeal this because every other case they have won. I actually litigated this issue when I was part of Special Counsel Mueller's investigation.
When I was part of Counsel Mueller's team. This was the guy who ran the Russia hoax. And what he's not telling people is basically everything he's done for like the last 10 years got thrown out of court. Completely thrown out of court. And he just said the same thing again that the other lady said. The other lady said, let's, basically appeal this to the 11th Circuit. He just said it. This guy's an attorney. He's been in the Department of Justice forever. And he doesn't realize it's going to land on Clarence Thomas's desk. So I think they're saying this stuff because he has to know. There's no way he's worked in the Department of Justice and he doesn't know what's about to happen. He is saying this to appease the rubes who watch MSNBC. He's saying this because to give them hope that we're going to get him. And then when Clarence Thomas poo-poos all over their appeal, then he'll come back and I can write the script right now. I can write the script right now after Clarence Thomas rips it up in his face. Well, this conservative judge who is obviously tainted and who's compromised, he's a Russian, and it's coming. It's coming. Because they don't have anything else to lean on. So they just keep saying all this crazy stuff for the people who basically consume this crap.
Investigation. And the courts, I think quite correctly, rejected what Judge Cannon did and said that the Attorney General has ample authority to appoint a special counsel.
Guess not. The cases just went bye-bye, so I guess not.
As an inferior officer. This, though, is the kind of issue that I think will go to the 11th Circuit, and I think it may go to the Supreme Court.
I wanted to include that. Because now he's full of it. Now without any equivocation This guy is a seasoned attorney. He knows whose desk this is going to fall on. He's basically gaslighting the MSNBC audience. Pure and simple. He knows this, just like you know it right now. And you know that the 11th Circuit, I've just told you, you see it here, is basically run by Clarence Thomas. He knows it. So what's his excuse? His excuse is he's just he's just saying this to the MSNBC audience. He doesn't feel any respect for them. He's just lying to them. There's going to be hope. We'll get him. The walls are closing in. We're going to appeal it. And then we're going to go to the 11th Circuit. And after that, we're going to go to the Supreme Court. And they're probably like, oh, goody, we're going to get him. And he never mentions who's the guy who's going to look at this appeal. Doesn't even talk about it. He didn't even talk about the concurring opinion in the decision of the immunity that Judge Cannon relied on. Doesn't even mention it. It's like it never happened.
The point is that I think that for cynical viewers, they can put this decision by Judge Cannon alongside the Supreme Court's immunity decision from 2 weeks ago to really think about the problem with the rule of law in this country.
So it's a problem now. He just spelled it out. So they're going to take this decision, they're going to marry it with the immunity decision, and it shows the problem with the rule of law. Really? Why? Because you didn't get your way. There's a problem with the rule of law, and that's why you have to impeach Alito and Thomas or pack the court, but you're not going to be able to do that because Trump's going to win.
Scott McFarland, thank you very much. Do you think this...
All right, so before this guy gets on here, this guy is a complete whack job. Let me take a few more comments. Any senator or congressman is a bad choice. What was Vance's net worth before going to Washington? We're going to talk about Vance in a second. They call him names. You guys are already into that. Okay, we'll talk about Vance in 1 second. The great, I can't see that. The great Clarence Thomas is hoping Trump wins to finally retire, and I think Judge Cannon is a very possible Supreme Court replacement, especially one of the liberal justices can't define what a woman is. Absolutely, that guy is a loser there on MS and DNC. You're absolutely right. Somebody wrote that the Democrat complex is just basically breaking in half. So no one is above the law, says Biden, but now that the law has been ruled, they don't like it. So this guy here, this guy basically almost cries on the air because of what he hears in this ruling. This is a CBS at this point. Listen to this.
Will affect the other cases, the other outstanding cases against Donald Trump? I know it's in two different, in another state, but do you think that this will have any effect on that?
The Washington, D.C. case is being brought by the same prosecutor. Easily can foresee former President Trump's lawyers trying to mechanize this ruling up in Washington, D.C. to throw more spokes in the wheel. But it's also...
It's not spokes in the wheel. The Supreme Court said he had certain immunity. Clarence Thomas said in the ruling that Jack Smith was unconstitutionally appointed. Judge Cannon took that ruling and said, boom, you got to go. So there's nothing to mechanize. It's already in place. All they got to do is just drop the papers on the desk.
So a more fundamental issue here. We're at a moment, as I stand here in Pennsylvania, where we're being urged to take the temperature down. Let's take the heat out of our politics. Judge Eileen Cannon, for whatever reason, has just struck a nerve.
You see how they're putting this together? It's striking a nerve. It's so divisive. It's painful to us libs because the judge actually did her job. I don't know how they've combined legal maneuvers and rulings as being divisive. This is what they got. No wonder they're losing. No wonder they are losing their minds on the left. No wonder they get taken off the air. They really have nothing at all to talk about.
People have been concerned the former president is going without accountability for...
He just went through a court case. So if he went through a court case and the judge ruled, then he has accountability. He's got a gag order. He's got all this stuff working against him, but you think he's not being held accountable. If someone does a crime and they go through the hearing and the judge rules one way or another, you have been held accountable. The other guy said, he was judged to be convicted by a jury of his peers. Well, in this case, the judge has said, no, this is no case. That is accountability.
Allegedly mishandling and having classified records he was not supposed to have. It's making it harder to tamp down the passions when a ruling like this comes down.
How is Trump adhering to a ruling by a court have anything to do with rhetoric and tamping down the heat of the moment? You see how they're trying to tie this stuff together? And the only reason is because they've got nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. I'm going to finish this and then we're going to go to a break.
Judge Napolitano here. Did you know there's a silver shortage? Former Wall Street analyst John Rubino predicts the silver shortage could cause an imminent price spike. Listen to this.
So that silver shortage we've been predicting for such a long time is finally here. Solar and electric cars are using up all the metal that is out there and then some, and that's going to spike the silver price in the next couple of years.
I used to own just gold. Now I also own silver. Why should you consider silver? Find out of the Silver Shortage Report, and my trusted friends at Lear Capital will send it to you for free. Lear is whom I trust whenever I buy silver.
Get your free Silver Shortage Report and see why experts believe silver prices are set to soar. Lear Capital, over 25 years in business, thousands of 5-star reviews, and a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. When you call, ask how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus silver. Call 800-601-5430. 800-601-5430.
Or you can go to learberry.com. One of the things you must notice as you watch my stuff here is I don't sell anything. I choose not to even sell t-shirts. People have asked me, maybe I'll give away some t-shirts. I got to talk about t-shirts too. And I give away trips. I give away money. I give away gift certificates because I don't want people to have to buy anything to enjoy my stuff. The reason why I decided to partner with Lear Capital is because with everything going on, you don't have to buy anything, just preserve your money. Do what you can right now to make sure you've got a hedge against what may come in the next 4 or 5 months. That's why it's important to me and Robin and people I work with is to make sure you have some stuff put aside in case the crap hits the fan. So, want to segue from there into t-shirts. One of the things that I've been seeing so much on Twitter today is people going, you know what? It's cool to wear Trump gear again. And I was like, yeah, F you people. I'm going to start wearing my Trump gear. I'm not afraid. Well, I never was afraid. I just didn't want someone to key my car or something. You know, they see where you park, and they won't say anything to me, obviously. But who knows what they'll do to your car. They'll come out the grocery store and have eggs all over your car, and then I'd have to go to jail because I'd end up killing somebody. Or if someone says something to my wife, if she's out there driving around and got her Trump gear. But now it's become cool again. So I think in the next couple of days, I'm going to go back into the stash, and we're going to start giving out some stuff again, some freebie stuff from the Trump team. We're going to give out some hats and t-shirts. It's kind of warm for hoodies, but some of you guys might still want to wear them or hold on to them. But I've got some hoodies out there. I've got some long sleeve shirts. I got some biker gear. I've got some ladies zip up. So we'll see what we can do in regards to that. Let me take a couple of your comments. They said that Trump is getting ready to talk at the RNC tonight. I thought he wasn't talking till Thursday. What? I didn't see that. Thank you, Robin and Barry both. Thank you, Muriel, for tuning in. Come on, show Barry some love, my brothers. Okay, please do that.
Come on, show some love and click that like button.
All right, so let's move on here and get to the next thing. What am I talking about now so I can see here? Let's just get to it. Oh, we're going to go to JD Vance.
All right, everybody. The news we have been waiting for throughout the day has just been made. This is an announcement on Truth Social by former President Trump. He has selected Ohio Senator JD Vance as his vice presidential pick. And this is what he writes. After lengthy deliberation and thought, and considering the tremendous talents of many others, I have decided that the person best suited to assume the position of Vice President of the United States is JD Vance of the great state of Ohio.
I think it's an incredible pick. I think he's an incredible guy with an amazing story, both in business and in life. And I think it's just going to be an incredible person to help unify this country.
What is that change going to look like, Don? What practically you're...
Check. So this is funny. This guy from MSNBC, I guess because Mika and Morning Joe had to get ripped off the air and there's no Joy Reid, they're just announcing who the vice presidential pick is. And so Don Jr. and Eric, let's give this guy a chance at asking a couple questions here.
Father, as president, I think you would even say was a divisive figure. What's it going to look like in the second term?
I don't think he was a divisive figure at all. I think the media created divisiveness around him. They lied about Russia collusion. They said he was a traitor. They went after him in every which way possible. If the media...
If you haven't seen this, you're going to love what Don Jr. does here.
Actually starts being an honest broker, talking about the things that he did, the prosperity he brought, the peace deals that he signed around the world, rather than the disaster that we're living right now. I think you do everyone in the country a big favor.
I know immigration's important to him. I covered the family separation crisis closely. Will we continue to see policies like separating 5,000 children deliberately from their parents?
How about the 100,000 kids that Dementia Joe and Mayorkas can't even find? They can't even find these kids, but he's going to talk about the 5,000 kids that were separated at the border. Yeah, okay. Watch what Don does to this guy.
The Obama administration...
You know they didn't do that, sir.
Okay, sure.
Will there be a second family separation policy?
It's MSDNC, so I expect nothing less from you clowns. Even today, even 48 hours later, you couldn't wait. You couldn't wait with your lies and with your nonsense. So just get out of here.
Just... get out of here. They're celebrating the announcement of JD Vance as the vice presidential pick. So he thinks the guy wants to talk about that, and he just comes out with some more BS. The people at MSNBC can't even help themselves. They're complete nut jobs. Absolute nut jobs. He's like, just get out of here. We no longer have to play in your sandbox. Go away. Things have changed. In case you didn't realize it, my dad got shot Saturday. He survived, and now we're coming for you people. So just get out of here. Loved it. So this guy is Brian Marino from Ohio.
What they should know is that JD Vance is fundamentally a great human being. He's a great person. He's going to fight to make certain that we secure our border, we have energy dominance, and that we make things here in America, that we restore our middle class. He's a guy that came from that world. He's going to make certain that the Republican Party stands with them. That's what this nomination means. Couldn't be more proud of JD.
I wrote Hillbilly Elegy because...
All right, so let me stop there for a second. When they announced the JD Vance vice president pick today, I had a lot of people reach out to me. A lot of people say, hey, listen, he's not the guy. Should have went with Byron Donalds. Should have went with this person. And here's what I'm going to say to you. And people brought up his past, and they said in 2016, he wasn't MAGA. And I love what, let me see if I can find it here. And I'm going to say this. Mike Cernovich says this. Nobody of consequence gives a shit what JD Vance said in 2016. I firmly believe that. And here's the only reason why I believe it. And I'm not going to tell you to believe in him. I'm going to tell you to believe in the guy you're watching for. I'm going to tell you to believe in the guy who took a shot on Saturday. If you trust Trump, if you believe that is the guy, if you believe that's the guy that you want as president, then that's the guy you have to trust his decision. I couldn't understand today, and I've seen some of the people in the chat here, and they're like, oh my God, he should have went with this guy or that guy. And I'm like, this guy just took a bullet for you. Yes, he took a bullet for you. If he made that decision, who are we to challenge it? Obviously, he knows a lot more than you and I know. And he decided, this is the guy I want as my vice president. He's done a lot more vetting than you have, done a lot more vetting than I have. And since I trust Trump, and I'm going to be voting for Trump, I have to trust that this guy knows what the hell he's doing. Yes, he made some bad decisions in the first term. I have to trust that he's learned from that. He learned that Mike Pence is a snake. He learned that a number of the people he surrounded himself were snakes. I don't believe that this man is going to make the same mistakes that he made before. And because I believe that he has learned how snaky Washington is, then I'm like, he picked JD Vance, I'm good with it. I am so good with it because the man I trust, even though I don't know a lot about JD Vance, this man has vetted him, has talked to him, his entire family has been with him. Do you think Eric and Don and everybody else that he's surrounded with would have said, hey, Dad, nah, this guy ain't it, man. I've looked him in the eye, we've talked, we've played golf. I think this guy's a possible snake. You think he told his two boys and his daughters, hey, man, no, I'm going to do what I want. No, he's talked to people. So to me, that's where it ends. Sorry. I know some people might not like that rationale, but if the guy I'm for says this is the guy I want, then that's the guy that he feels should be there. Period. End of discussion. If he felt that Tim Scott would have been better, or Rubio, or Burgum, or, Tulsi Gabbard, or whoever, then it's on him. And right now, today, on July 15th, I am not prepared to challenge his decisions based upon where he goes at this point. So if I'm trusting in Trump, and if you're trusting in Trump, then you're going to have to step back and go, this is the guy. So here's a little bit about JD Vance, in case you don't really know about the guy.
I wanted to give people a sense of what it was like to live in a community like mine. I didn't think a whole lot of stories were told about white working class Americans. I didn't think a lot of stories were told about people who were struggling with some of the problems we were struggling with, joblessness, drug addiction, and so forth. And I thought that I could tell a story that would make people understand my family a little bit better, and maybe in the process, understand the struggles of a lot of families in Middletown and the state of Ohio more broadly.
JD carries where he came from everywhere with him. And he talked all the time about how much he loved Middletown and Ohio and his family. And he would tell me all of these stories about why it was the greatest place in the world. In his mind, this is the center of the universe. And that's one of the reasons that he was so enthusiastic about bringing his whole family back here.
I am from Ohio. I grew up in this state. I left to join the Marine Corps, and I came back to build a business and to raise a family because we wanted to raise our family in a place that's beautiful, that has great people, and that has great values. And this is my home. I love this place, and I care about it.
These are his people. This is where he's from. These are the people who carried him through difficult times in life. And he really believes, and I believe that if he can get himself into a position to make a difference for them, he will.
I'm running for U.S. Senate because the people that I grew up around, the people across the state of Ohio who are trying to achieve the American dream, they actually need somebody to fight for them. Right now in Ohio, people who are working hard, they're playing by the rules, they're trying to get ahead, they're trying to make a better life for their children. The leaders of this country think they're stupid, they think they're bigoted, they judge their viewpoints, they're shipping their jobs overseas. No one is fighting for working and middle-class Ohioans who are just trying to build a good life for themselves. I want to be the person who's fighting for them. We are a good country with good people, and when we support each other, we actually can accomplish great things.
Mm-hmm.
The clone of Trump on the issue.
All right, so this, to me, right here, Dementia Joe, let me see if I can just rewind that a little bit. This, to me, was probably the best endorsement for JD Vance anyone could have hoped for. Listen to what Dementia Joe says about JD Vance. You ready?
The clone of Trump on the issue. Clone of Trump. A clone of Trump on the issue.
Dementia Joe says that JD Vance is a clone of Trump on the issues. Okay, good. We're good. Thank you. Thank you very much. He's a clone of Trump. That is really good for me. I'm good. You good? Yep, we're all good. He's a clone of Trump. We'll take it.
So I don't see any difference.
I don't see any difference. He doesn't see any difference whatsoever. Okay. They should just run that on a loop for all you guys who may be doubting JD Vance. All right, so before I get to that, what I want to get to is, and there's another reason why I like JD Vance as I began digging in and doing some research today. I want you to hear this. Listen right here. There's a couple reasons why you also may want to like JD Vance.
I think it's ridiculous that we're focused on this border in Ukraine. I got to be honest with you. I don't really care what happens to Ukraine one way or another.
I don't really care what happens in that country over there one way or another. Sounds good to me. No more billions to that little guy over in that country. Works for me. Work for you? Be honest. If he's able to get in there and help Trump stop the flow of money going over there, does that work for you? Works for me. This is Vivek, who is good friends with JD Vance. I know a lot of you guys liked Vivek to possibly be the vice president. Watch his reaction.
Just informed that while we were sitting here, Donald Trump has picked Senator JD Vance.
You kidding me? Right here? Okay.
Vice president. right now, while we are.
Is that right? There it is. I see it. Well, I'm glad to see it. I actually messaged JD earlier today offering him, it sounded like the winds were pointing in that direction, and I had offered him my preliminary congratulations, and I think he will be an outstanding vice president, actually. I think he's not going to be a good vice president, he'll be an outstanding vice president. I think President Trump and our country will be lucky to have him. I will certainly do everything in my power to make sure the Trump-Vance ticket is successful. I want to think about this, but I'm inclined to say this could be the single most formidable political ticket in my lifetime. And I want to see them succeed at a scale that not only makes the Republican Party thrive, but makes the country thrive. And, I think we need more people like JD in American politics. So I'm very happy for him and excited for everything that's ahead. And
JD Vance is the...
All right. So what he said, I hope it was loud enough, is he said the Trump-Vance ticket may be the most formidable ticket in political history. There were people in this chat who were doubting JD Vance. You just heard Vivek Ramaswamy say that might be the most formidable ticket in political history. Now, I'm going to play you a short video from someone I feel could have been vice president and I trust as being knowledgeable, and that's from Tucker Carlson. Listen to this.
He pick, and I think every person who pays close attention has got to be thrilled by that. And if you don't know much about JD Vance, I'm not even going to make a case for JD Vance. I'm going to tell you what I just saw, which is that every bad person I've ever met in a lifetime in Washington was aligned against JD Vance.
Think of what he just said. Every bad person that he knows in Washington was aligned against JD Vance. So if you're looking around and going, that guy's a piece of crap, he doesn't like JD Vance, good. This guy's a piece of crap and a snake, he doesn't like JD Vance, good. All the people that Tucker says he knows that are crappy people were aligned against JD Vance.
And I do think the negative case is often more powerful because I know of myself, I do not think I'm a particularly good person. I have strong reasons for feeling that way. I don't always think that my side is right. I know for a fact I have been wrong many, many times. And I hope to correct and be honest about my error. So it's not like I think that, I'm always, God's always on my side. Sometimes I'm not on God's side. But I definitely know who's representing the other side. It's a lot easier to tell who the people who are only in it because they like, killing other people in pointless wars. Like, I know who those people are. And their odor is so powerful that I can smell one when he walks in the room. And every single one of those people in a line that would extend from Milwaukee to Chicago was lined up over the last week to knife JD Vance.
Think about that. Those are some seriously heavy words. All these people who are basically warmongers, who aren't good people, were lined up telling Trump, trying to knife JD Vance in the back. Why? Why?
Not on personal grounds. I mean, he's a perfectly nice guy. He's like one of the only members of the Senate with a happy marriage. True. But because they thought he would be harder to manipulate and slightly less enthusiastic about killing people. That's it. That he would be an impediment to their exercising power. And boy, they went after him in a way I've just kind of never seen. Which I think happens every day in Washington. I just don't have a vantage on it because I'm far, far away and grateful to be. And again, I was just reminded that this process is so ugly that normal people do not want to participate in it. And yet normal people have to suck it up and do so anyway because the consequences are just so profound and so very serious.
So profound and so very serious that most people don't want to do it. And the people who he doesn't consider as good people had their knives out against JD Vance. So I want to show you a couple things. Let me see, get through here. I found this to be interesting. Dave Portnoy, who is the CEO of Barstool Sports, says Biden came out with a quote and said, here's the deal about JD Vance. He talks a big game about working people, but now he and Trump want to raise taxes on middle-class families while pushing more tax cuts for the rich. Blah, 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 blah. And Dave Portnoy says that was a far faster response to Trump announcing his VP than Trump getting shot in the head. I was like, wow, that is so true. Then the Biden camp released this statement as well. And it's a pretty long statement, but basically down here they go back to the millionaires and billionaires and all this stuff. Over the next 3.5 months, we will spend every single day making the case between the two contrasting visions Americans will choose between at the ballot box this November. The Biden-Harris ticket, who's focused on uniting the country, creating opportunity for everyone, which is impossible. Where was I there? Lowering cost, or Trump-Vance, whose harmful agenda, so much for making nice, will take away Americans' rights, hurt the middle class, and make life more expensive, all while benefiting the ultra-rich and greedy corporations. So they don't care. They don't have any other message than to try and vilify people on the right. For those asking why JD Vance, Trump told us the logic with the announcement. Currently, the tightest races are Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, which I mentioned earlier. The Rust Belt states will decide the 2024 election. Vance is from Ohio, and Trump told us in his announcement that Vance's job during the campaign will be to focus on winning over the hard-working people in those states. Vance is a Midwest Rust Belt guy who hopefully can appeal to these voters and put Trump over the top in these battleground states. That's the thought process behind the pick. Logically, it makes sense. Now we just have to make it work. Perfect. There's your explanation. Those states, I want you to get out there. You're from Ohio. Everybody knows you're from Ohio. Get out there and get these people from Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania and turn these people into Trump voters. That's what he has to do. That's what his job is going to be moving forward. And then you get this one from Jack Posobiec. Karl Rove is melting down. Rupert Murdoch is melting down. John Bolton is melting down. What does that tell you? When you're seeing this type of adversarial reaction from those type of people, that tells you their interests aren't the same as what JD Vance's interests are, which should tell you this is a good pick. What's this one say here? If JD Vance frustrates Karl Rove and Lindsey Graham and other neocons, that should tell you a lot. Absolutely, that should tell you plenty. As a friend put it, and I love this one, Vance is truly an F it guy. F it we ride pick from Trump. Demonstrates real confidence and shows that he wants a bulldog. Vance is certainly that. In terms of pure IQ and speaking ability, Vance is the best candidate Trump could possibly pick. The guy's a Yale graduate. He's basically come from the hard scrabble life, has made something of himself. He's the kind of story the people in the Midwest want to embrace. So I'm not understanding why people would have a problem at all with that, because you know, that's pretty much the type of guy you would think that you'd want at the helm at this point. Working with him, he's young. He can get out there and talk to these people and basically try to get these Midwest states over the hump. Let me just get here. Okay, I'm just setting this up. All right, so let me hear what some of you guys got to say about this. He got a degree in 2 years at Ohio State, then went to get a law degree at Yale. Not a dummy. If they have it, he is going to absolutely devour, eviscerate Kamala Harris in a debate. She won't be able to cackle her way through it. This guy he's a Yale graduate, like you're saying here. He graduated in 2 years from Ohio State. He will dice her up. She won't even know what to discuss. I can tell you what she's going to say. She's going to say racism and all the other stuff. You know, definitely. JD Vance is a hardworking American. Saturday's episode, I like how you worded that, made Trump a winner of the election. He joined them. Yeah, and this is something I like. He saw what happened. He joined the Marines and served and went to Ohio after that, after he got out of the Marines. Exactly. Save our country, not these other people. We don't need billions and billions going over there. I'm confident that if Trump was president, there wouldn't be a war over there. Finally, a vice president who doesn't cackle. Absolutely. He knows more than Venn diagram. So I guess in a nutshell, and it's just that I just think that Trump picked a guy, and if we trust Trump, that should be the overarching decision for all of us. If we trust Trump, then we need to trust his decisions. If you don't trust his decision at vice president, it's July. If you don't trust the decision he just made as vice president, then how are you voting for him? Because you're saying he's not smart enough, astute enough to pick the right guy? He knows the lay of the land. There must be something that he looked into that made him feel, that's my guy. Nobody forced him. His sons love him. There's a reason why he picked JD Vance. I know he wasn't a Trump supporter in 2016. Shit happens. There are many people who are married right now who didn't end up getting their date accepted when they asked their wife out to dinner. Not me. I mean, as soon as I asked her, she's like, "Yeah, we're going out." I got it like that. Tiger blood. Kidding. She'd slap me upside the head if she heard me say that. All right, so let's continue and get this wrapped up. All right, so what we're about to see here is the actual. I almost said coronation. Oh my God! This is when they actually get on the floor, and I was so happy. There was no histrionics. There was no chaos. Every single state went up there and said, we're putting our delegates behind Donald Trump.
Florida, 125 delegates.
All right, so he was at about 1,140 delegates at this point, and he needed 80 to go over the hump and become officially nominated as the president today. And of course, they set it up. They knew in advance, obviously, how it was going to calculate. And they let Florida put him over the hump. And watch who introduces it.
Madam Secretary and everybody in this great city. On behalf of our entire family, and on behalf of the 125 delegates in the unbelievable state of Florida, we hereby nominate every single one of them for the greatest president that's ever lived, and that's Donald J. Trump. Hereby declaring him the Republican nominee for President of the United States of America.
There are people who posted today who have been to many conventions who said they had never seen so many unified people for a candidate. They said it was just amazing energy, and that everywhere you turned, it was Trump, 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 Trump. People were just ecstatic. They were excited. They couldn't wait to, basically put those delegates forward.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, Florida, 125 votes, President Trump.
So next coming up, I want to close with this. This is, again, Vivek Ramaswamy talking about the importance of this election and what we can expect.
Has called a Republican president a tyrant, a dictator, said it would be the end of the United States of America as we know it, said he would make us a laughingstock on the global stage. And those are exact quotes, actually, of what they said about Abraham Lincoln. Saw the Lincoln hat, you might have wanted me to remember that. Those were words that the Democrat-led media said about the first ever Republican president before he was shot and assassinated in 1865.
Isn't that a little eerie? When I heard him say that, I had to go look it up. It's true. And I was like, woo, right before he was killed.
Wow. So think about that in the moment.
You hear the people like, wow, yeah, that's crazy.
That we live in today. We came within, Lincoln actually spoke at this convention. It was at a Republican convention. It was at a state convention, Republican state convention, I think in 1858, when he said a house divided cannot stand. That was on the eve of a nation that was on the brink of civil war. That's right. I think we came within a hair's breadth of a second civil war in this country, and we avoided it.
Yes. By only one way. God's intervention.
And I think it's because God intervened. And I believe that he has given us a chance to answer his call.
Amen.
And I think that's the moment we live in right now. Is the hard part is we are in a kind of war in this country. We are. But the enemy is not our fellow citizens. No. Actually. It is an ideology. That's right. And so this is the work we have cut out ahead of us, is how do we win this war while still viewing our neighbors as our fellow citizens and not as our enemy combatants? Are we up to that?
That's going to be very, very hard. Given how they feel about Trump, it's going to be very hard not to look at people as enemy combatants.
Challenge. I believe we are.
So, there's a comment here I want here. Somebody wrote here, Kenneth wrote, I like that Vance didn't like Trump. It gives him a perspective of how to find the truth. That is so poignant. It makes so much sense. I didn't like this guy. This guy Trump, yeah, I didn't like his whole persona. I didn't like what he was saying. But let me dig in. Let me find out more about him. Let me see how this guy ticks. Let me meet his family. JD Vance did the same amount of work that Trump did. He took the time to get to know Trump and his family. And right now, he and the family are very good friends. So there was something in his mind that said, what is it about this guy that I want to get behind? And he took the time to figure it out. I truly believe this. I'm gonna end on this comment because it really means something. God has certainly taken the wheel. There's no other explanation, and even Trump knows it, why this man is even alive today. We're talking that far. Either way. And this man would be gone, and we would be in... I can't even imagine where we would be today if the unthinkable would have happened. Yes, the FBI screwed up. James, I didn't want to put your last name, but this is the comment I'll close on. My wife and I want to thank you again for the thought and prayers for my wife. We will let you all know when her surgery is. Thanks, brother. Thank you. Thank you for even letting me know that. That's James Smith. His wife, Gina, is the woman with the brain tumor. And so if we close today, can you guys all keep James and Gina in your thoughts and prayers? I know people say that a lot, thoughts and prayers. But it doesn't take much. And if there's anything that we learned, if anything we saw from Saturday, is that prayer works. I mean, I've seen it in my life many a times, but all of us saw it on Saturday. Every single one of us who saw what happened saw the power of prayer happen in real time live. And I think that is part and participle why we're seeing so many people make the turn to Trump. They can't even explain it. They're talking, oh yeah, he's superhero. There's a reason why people saw what they saw and went, this guy just survived death. This guy's got something I think I want to be associated with. And like I told you about that young woman who in yesterday's video, and she's like, I was lied to. Pray for James and Gina, please, if you're a praying person. James and Gina, Robin and I will keep you in our prayers as well. Tomorrow I'm going to run down where the case is at this point and all the different information that's out there. And then, who knows? Today's Monday. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? I mean, so much news. I'm going to get up in the morning, I DVR Morning Joe, and I want to see if they're still on the air, what's going on with them. But thank you for tuning in to another 2-hour show. Can't believe it, man. Love you guys.